On a tranquil afternoon at a hidden beach with her horse, Crystal, Hannah experienced something remarkable. Typically calm and serene by the water, Crystal suddenly became restless. The horse began to paw at the sand in a frenzy, as if trying to unearth something hidden below. As Crystal's efforts intensified, Hannah's curiosity shifted to worry. What Crystal uncovered next was beyond anything Hannah could have imagined, leading her to quickly dial 911. It was the first beautiful day of summer. The sun shone brightly in the clear blue sky, and a gentle breeze provided just enough coolness as Hannah made her way to the beach with her horse Crystal. Soon, the dunes opened up to a stretch of sand that began to fill with sunbathers. Hannah expected it to be an ordinary day, but nothing could have prepared her for what awaited her on the beach. Dismounting from Crystal, Hannah sank into the warm sand. Taking the horse's reins, they set off in search of the perfect spot to relax. Crystal, as always, was calm and at ease by the shore. Eventually, Hannah found a large cave that offered ample shade for breaks from the sun and enough seclusion for Crystal to roam freely. After laying down her towel and setting up the small parasol she had brought, Hannah unbuckled Crystal's reins. Gently stroking the horse's nose, she said, "Be free, my friend." Before long, Crystal wandered off to explore the sand. Hannah looked up at the sound and took a moment to spot her horse. To her amusement, Crystal was pawing at the sand near the cave entrance, a sight that made Hannah chuckle. "What are you doing, you silly animal?" she laughed, settling back onto her towel to soak up the sun. But then a loud noise interrupted her. Frowning, Hannah sat up again to watch Crystal. The horse was no longer just playing. He was digging earnestly with his front legs, clearly determined to uncover something hidden beneath the surface. Hannah stood up and walked over, but she didn't see anything that could have elicited such a reaction. She pushed Crystal away from the cave, certain it was probably just an old carrot someone had buried in the sand. For a moment, Crystal seemed content to nose along the waves, so Hannah laid back down on her towel and closed her eyes. She hadn't realized she had fallen asleep, but sure enough, she woke up to the sound of Crystal digging a while later. "Crystal," she reprimanded, getting up to push the horse away from the mouth of the cave again. This time, Crystal wouldn't budge. The horse stayed right where he was and didn't even halt his digging. Hannah leaned in to get a better look at the hole that was slowly forming beneath her horse's hooves. There was nothing to see but sand, getting a bit darker and wetter the deeper the hole went. A little crab scuttled quickly away from the onslaught. Fine, she relented. "Let me help you then, you insufferable clown," she said, and sat down on her knees to help Crystal dig into the sand. She pulled handfuls of sand from the hole, creating a pile beside her that grew by the minute. Hannah was completely engrossed in her task. "What are you doing?" a high-pitched voice asked. Hannah looked up to see a little boy of around 10 years old peering curiously into the hole Crystal and she had been digging. "Honestly, kid, I don't really know," she said, sitting back on her haunches. The kid seemed to think about this for a moment, then held out a hand that was covered in melted ice cream. "I'm Tim. Can I help?" he said. Hannah took Tim's hand and tried not to cringe at how sticky it was. "I'm Hannah," she said as she shook his hand. "Sure, why not? You dig from that side, and I'll dig from this," she opted, giving Crystal a foul look at what he was forcing her to do. The animal wisely didn't react at all. Tim nodded, and together they started digging. Finally, their fingers touched something hard. Hannah's fingers scraped against something solid in the sand. Together with Tim, they cleared the sand around the object, curious about their find. As he pulled, something on the box clicked and came loose, sending him stumbling back into the sand. Hannah rushed to his side, concern etched on her face. The object remained in the hole, more mysterious than ever, as they both eyed it wearily, wondering what they had disturbed. The relentless beeping now captured the attention of nearby beachgoers, drawing a crowd around Hannah and Tim. With one final effort, Hannah managed to free the metal object from its sandy grave. The crowd leaned in, the beeping echoing off the cave walls and mixing with the sound of the waves. The beeping intensified, drilling into Hannah's ears. She stood frozen for a split second before her survival instincts kicked in. "Call 911. Hannah's eyes were glued to the metal object as a timer blinked back at her in ominous red numbers. It was counting down, each second ticking away. "Go find your mom or dad, Tim," Hannah said, her voice steady but her heart racing. Tim looked up at her, his eyes welling up, but he nodded. Hannah turned her attention back to the device, trying to fix the lever Tim had accidentally pulled. As the police cars arrived, sirens blaring, the timer ominously displayed 00136. Hannah, frozen with fear, clutched the mysterious device tightly, afraid that even the slightest movement might accidentally trigger it prematurely. A handsome officer approached swiftly, urgency etched deeply on his face. After quickly assessing the scene, he asked Hannah to explain everything. "I will," Hannah said, her voice trembling with panic. "But first, please can you make sure my horse, Crystal, is moved to safety?" Hannah, still tightly holding the device, overheard murmurs among the officers in a distinct phrase, "Call the bomb squad immediately." Soon 2 determined officers approached Crystal, attempting to lead him away from the imminent danger zone. "Can you tell me what happened?" Detective Gonzalez asked, introducing himself. Hannah recounted the afternoon's events, describing how Crystal had started digging insistently in the sand, leading her to join in. Her voice was steady but carried an underlying note of disbelief at the day's surreal turn of events. Hannah continued, explaining how a young boy named Tim had appeared, offering his help. Together, they had uncovered something buried in the sand. As Hannah relayed the extraordinary events of the morning, she couldn't help but notice the police officers methodically clearing the crowded beach. Detective Gonzalez placed his hand gently on Hannah's trembling shoulder, a gesture of support during the escalating chaos. "It'll be okay." Admitting her deep-seated fear, Hannah felt a vulnerability she hadn't expected to confront today. When Jacob inquired if she wanted to call someone for comfort, her response was a quiet, somber confession of profound loneliness. The sudden mention of Tim prompted Jacob's immediate concern, highlighting the unexpected bond formed during a crisis. Hannah expressed a heartfelt hope aloud that Tim was now safely away, her concern for him evident even amidst her own palpable distress. As Hannah spoke of Tim with worry, a convoy of dark vans appeared, driving purposefully up the sandy beach toward them. "That has to be the bomb squad," Jacob observed with certainty, following Hannah's anxious gaze. "All right," Jacob said, his voice calm and steady. "Hannah, I'm here with you, and I'm not going anywhere. It's going to be okay." Hearing his words, Hannah felt a wave of relief. 3 figures clad in heavy bomb disposal suits approached through the sand, their presence almost otherworldly. "You found the object?" Hannah could only nod in response, the surreal nature of the situation making every moment feel like a scene from a movie she never asked to star in. Trying to remain as motionless as possible, Hannah watched as the bomb squad members positioned themselves carefully around her. "No sudden movements," the first man warned, his tone serious yet calm. "We're going to get this away from you as quickly as we can, okay?" Jacob noticed her discomfort and, looking for a distraction, asked, "Tell me about Crystal." His question was a gentle attempt to shift her focus as the bomb squad members concentrated on assessing the beeping device. Hannah spoke of Crystal, her voice warming as she described him as more than a horse, more like her best friend, someone who seemed to understand every word she said. "What a special bond you two have. No wonder he wouldn't leave you," Jacob remarked with a smile, glancing toward Crystal, who remained determinedly by Hannah's side. A bomb squad member stood up and detailed their plan to Hannah. First, she would stand up slowly and carefully with Jacob's assistance. With Jacob's support, Hannah stood, feeling the rush of blood to her legs as she moved achingly slow. "Well done, Hannah," praised the bomb squad leader. Once she was upright, the beeping object still in her grip, he said, "Now you're going to slowly and carefully hand the bomb to me, okay?" The timer reads 00:42:26, a stark reminder of the urgency. Hannah, too afraid to speak, merely nodded at the bomb squad leader's instructions. Hannah's hands trembled uncontrollably as she carefully extended the bomb away from her body, her arms moving with agonizing slowness to keep the device steady. By the time she transferred the bomb from her shaking hands to the bomb squad member, the timer reads 002:57, its incessant beeping echoing in the tense atmosphere. The urgency in the squad member's voice propelled them into action, their instincts kicking in before their minds could fully grasp the danger still ticking behind them. Hannah and Jacob sprinted away, their feet sinking into the soft sand and kicking it up as they desperately tried to distance themselves from the potential explosion. "Faster," Jacob urged, tightening his grip on Hannah's hand as he sensed her beginning to slow down. The ordeal had stemmed from what was supposed to be a time capsule, not a bomb. Relief washed over her, even as Jacob gently wiped away her tears. The day's harrowing events had deepened their bond, intertwining their emotions in a way they had never anticipated. As calm returned and they sat wrapped in emergency blankets, with Crystal contentedly nearby, Jacob's hesitant question broke the tranquil silence. The fear and confusion of the day began to fade, giving way to the hopeful possibility of something more between them. Hannah's bright smile in response was a promise of new beginnings, a testament to how a day filled with unexpected challenges had brought them closer together.